feel and look better. From your head to your toes, watch Holistic Strong, the best channel for mind and body videos.
In this video, I will distinguish between anxiety attacks, and panic disorder, three unenviable conditions that compromise the quality of life. Indeed, anxiety attacks, and panic disorders all feel like death, if not proverbial hell, and need to be treated because each one can exert adverse health consequences. Before pointing out the specific differences of each condition, an easy way to tell the difference is to think about this analogy. An anxiety attack is like being in a frying pan as you heat up and get fried as a result from the sources of stress in your life. For example, suppose that your boss wants you to speak in front of your colleagues. An anxiety attack may be triggered as you fear public speaking, and perhaps have a specific phobia about speaking in front of others. Here is another example. You're already stressed out about your wedding, and right before the event, you notice that your skin has erupted with bumps and is completely inflamed. Your anxiety hits an all-time high, overwhelmed by self-conscious feelings, and incessant worry that you're not that beautiful, picture-perfect bride. While anxiety attack symptoms can be very uncomfortable, including rapid heartbeat, chest pain, dizziness, shortness of breath, emotional distress, and more, they're not as severe as panic attack symptoms. But surprisingly, such anxiety attack symptoms may last longer than panic attack symptoms. Of interest, panic attack symptoms seem to peak at about 10 minutes or so, while anxiety-related attacks can last days, weeks, or months. Now let's turn our attention to panic attacks, which is like going from the frying pan to a fire. You're burning up with intense stress that seems life-threatening. And worse, there may not be any trigger associated with any given panic attack. Imagine you're at home and out of the blue, your heart starts to race and pound. You begin to sweat profusely, your hands start to shake, and you begin to feel lightheaded and dizzy. You become even more acutely aware of your distress, and you're feeling hot flashes or chills, stomach pain, and shortness of breath. While some of these symptoms can be classified as anxiety attack symptoms, here they're even more intense, and can come on so quickly without any warning or reason. People experiencing a panic attack may also experience a loss of control, and feel they're going crazy. Many folks with panic attacks believe that it is an inherent weakness, something they are ashamed to admit to others. And at the same time, too many individuals who do not suffer from panic attacks may very well think it's a character defect, affecting only those who are too sensitive and emotional. More compassion and understanding should be given to those afflicted with anxiety or panic attacks. But regardless of the worldview at large, those in the throes of anxiety and panic should become more self-compassionate. But going back to the differences between anxiety and panic is that anxiety tends to build up, while panic attacks can be unpredictable and sudden. During an unsettling panic attack, the body's autonomous fight or flight response virtually takes over. This is why the physical symptoms of a panic attack are often more intense than symptoms of anxiety. In addition, panic attacks typically trigger worrisome scenarios that another attack is imminent. Most people don't worry about the next anxiety attack, and often, anxiety stays in the back recesses of the mind when the anxiety trigger is gone. As with many mental illnesses, symptoms are so unnerving, people do their best to avoid situations that they feel can foment such strong emotions. This is why we generally don't like to go past our individual comfort zones as we try to avoid these unpleasant strong emotions. Now taking a further stride in the abyss of negative, toxic feelings is the classification of panic disorders. We've gone to the frying pan of anxiety attacks, to the fire of panic attacks, and now jumped into the erupting volcano of panic disorder. Here, the torrid and hot flames of despair will make folks feel as though death is truly imminent. According to the Diagnostic and Statistical Model 5 (DSM-5), a reference guide to mental health disorders, panic attack disorder encompasses recurrent panic attacks. The person battling this chronic condition experiences one or more panic attacks on a given month, and then becomes unhinged the following month by the prospect of future attacks, or exhibits maladaptive behaviors as a result. DSM describes a panic attack when 4 symptoms out of 13 are evident, such as palpitations, sweating, trembling and shaking, shortness of breath, and the like. In summary, you now know the difference between anxiety attacks, and panic disorder. But more important than understanding this difference, is to understand yourself. For instance, what past events may be emotionally crippling you today? What possible triggers are interfering with your day-to-day living? What stress reduction activities can you implement that can limit any emotional disturbance? In other later videos, our channel, Holistic Strong, will provide tips on how to diffuse anxiety attacks, and panic disorder where you will no longer find yourself in the frying pan, fire, or volcano. Time to feel better and let your spirits soar where you're safe and at peace. But for now, if you want more information on how to eradicate anxiety and panic, please visit the website, noted in the description, and please comment about your experiences with anxiety and/or panic, and perhaps provide tips of your own about how to overcome such toxic, enervating, and life-jeopardizing conditions.
Thanks for visiting our Holistic Strong channel. Subscribe and share.